Hello and welcome to Courage to Overcome. On this podcast, I'll be talking about emotionally destructive relationships and narcissistic behavior patterns from a Christian biblical perspective with a bit of psychology. So my aim is just to share what I've learned to just help support and empower other people going through toxic issues in their romantic, intimate relationships. So if you're interested in this type of content, please like, subscribe or follow, or even share with someone who you feel might find this useful. So today I want to talk about, some tips on how to avoid toxic relationships. There are some tips and signs to look out for when dating to save you from getting involved with a narcissist or a toxic or emotionally destructive person. These warning signs or red flags, as they call them, will help you avoid a harrowing and toxic relationship that can cost you your peace and self-confidence. Knowing what I know about narcissism, I wish I knew what to look out for when I was dating. I believe that all people, especially young people, should be educated and informed before dating so as to avoid getting involved in harmful relationships. Because a narcissist is very good at concealing his true character, especially covert narcissists, you have to be extra vigilant, but you should be able to spot some signs after a few days if you really look out for them. So the first thing you need to be aware of is not to just jump deep into any relationship just like that. Just take your time and really get to know the person and, just be vigilant and watch out for certain signs and red flags, So some narcissists are notorious for rushing the relationship, within the first few dates. He's already talking about getting married to you and starting a family. I know for some women that might be exciting for you to have a person who seems to want all the things you want. However, that does seem to be too soon. And that is actually a major red flag, to be honest. And, it's just too soon on just a few days. You're thinking about, marriage, you have to ask the question, why the rush? The narcissist wants to tie you down quickly because it's much harder to leave him if you're married. And especially if you start, having kids early as well, One minute you're dating the sweetest guy, and then you're married to him and everything, and the next minute he's a monster. So another tip is, when going on a date, especially a first date, don't give too much information about yourself. Don't tell him your whole life story. The narcissist will want to know all about you so that he can mirror all your desires and try to be what you want. And that's how they get you. You'll be telling your friends, oh, he likes everything that I like. Yes, because you told him everything you like. Also, he'll be fishing for weaknesses and vulnerabilities that he can take advantage of in the future and at a later date. When you're going on a date, just, when asked about yourself, just give general vague answers. Don't be too specific. And, just change the subject and ask about him. Narcissists do like to talk about themselves. They're very self-centered people, exaggerating their achievements and boasting about themselves. Since they like to monopolize conversations, try and find out about him and his former relationships with other women. Obviously, probably not on the first date. He wouldn't ask that. But, subsequent dates, just casually ask about, his former relationships with other women and, his relationships with his family and mother and brothers and sisters and all of that stuff. How he manages his relationships with other women, especially his mother and sisters, may be an indication of how he would treat you. They might be evasive about their past and may bring the subject back to you again or entirely change the subject. For me personally, I didn't get to know all about my husband's past until we got married. And, when he did tell me, it was in bits and pieces, really bits and pieces. And it was his family. It's a pity. It seemed like it was a source of shame for him. And he told me he was ashamed of his past and his family and the roots of his family. I mean, he comes from a very prestigious family, but I think there were some things that happened in his family that, caused him to feel like that, But yeah, so find out who he's living with and, the person that you're dating. Find out, just try and be like a detective kind of a thing, an undercover detective kind of, find out who he's living with and find out from there what he's really like, or friends and family. Don't just rely on what he tells you. Find out from other people he's close to. Also, does he stare at every attractive female that catches his eye when he's with you? That's another red flag. That could be an indication that he might be a womanizer or that he is a narcissist searching for potential new narcissistic supply. The narcissist is always on the prowl for someone new, even when they're in a relationship or dating you. They're not satisfied with just one female interest. If your date is serious about you, even though a date may not be considered as serious, it's just a date, But you should be his only interest, though. You should be his only interest at that particular time on the day. You would be captivating his attention. We want to make sure that you are the object of his attention and not every other female inside. If your date has roaming eyes, you don't want to hang around with him any longer. It's obvious he's not serious. Watch closely his responses. Does he seem to crave attention? Does he get upset when your attention is elsewhere or when you're talking to another male, maybe one of your friends? That's another red flag. Narcissists are very jealous people and hate not being the center of attention. They will visibly get very upset. Watch how he relates and reacts to your male friends. Although some males might be slightly jealous, a narcissist will be very jealous. Their responses are more extreme and over the top than normal people. Is he extremely sensitive to any perceived criticism? That's another red flag. Narcissists are very arrogant and will react against any critique as their fragile ego has been dealt a blow, a narcissistic injury. In conversations with your date, do you find that he seems to blame every failure or weakness that he has had on other people? Is he always blame shifting? He doesn't seem to accept responsibility or fault for anything. Narcissists are known fault finders and blame shifters. Does he respect your boundaries? Does he call you at ungodly hours or visit you unexpectedly and expect you to leave everything you're doing to go out with him? Does he insist on knowing where you are or who you're with all the time? Narcissists will not respect your boundaries or rules and regulations. They like to enforce rules but will not abide by them because they consider themselves special and above everyone else. They can do whatever they want, but you can't. If that's the situation with you, run. Is he very sensitive to any perceived criticism or slight, suddenly becoming quite upset and angry? He will make fun of other people, but don't ever make fun of him. He does not take personal jokes about himself lightly. Does he become uncomfortable with personal jokes levied at him, but likes to make fun of other people? Narcissists have a sense of humor when other people are the butt of the jokes, but turn it the other way around and it's no longer funny. Does he treat waitresses or waiters very rudely and is not courteous but condescending? Narcissists view themselves as superior and regard waiters beneath them and should be treated accordingly. And lastly, trust your instincts and intuition. If you feel that something is not right about the person you're dating, then you're probably right. Get out quickly. Leave that date, leave that relationship. I hope this was informative and you enjoyed this episode. Please like, follow, or subscribe, and I'll meet with you in my next episode.